Whenever I'm cooking for the holidays or making a big family meal, what I really love to do is a prime rib roast. It's an impressive presentation, but it's not hard to make if you know a few secrets. Now, first of all, there are really two basic prime rib roasts that you can choose, either a boneless or a bone-in. Now, the boneless is really awesome because it's so easy. It's already pre-seasoned and pre-netted, like this one from Kansas City Steak Company. Basically, get this one into a pan, pop it in the oven, and you're off to the races. You may also choose a bone-in prime rib roast, and a lot of folks really prefer this because with those bones, you're getting lots of extra flavor. Now, when we picked this one up from our local butcher, we brought this one home and we cleaned off the short ribs. That process is called Frenching. But what we're going to do today first is work on the boneless prime rib roast, and you want to begin with a shallow roasting pan. Now, what I like to do is drizzle just a little bit of canola oil in the bottom. You can also use a non-stick cooking spray. Now, because this is already pre-seasoned and pre-netted, just take your prime rib roast and get it right into the pan. It's important to know also that this needs to cook in a 375 oven, so make sure you preheat your oven, and you're going to cook this only about 20 minutes per pound. So let's go ahead and pop it inside. Now let's get busy on the bone-in version. What we want to do is get ready to season this one because this one has no seasoning on it to begin with. Now you'll notice that you're going to see a lot of fat on top of the prime rib roast. This is called the fat cap. You always want to, whether you're using a boneless or a bone-in prime rib, to cook this one fat side up. But when you're seasoning it, go a little extra heavy with the salt. Because of that layer of fat, the extra salt is needed so it can work its way through the fat and really begin to season the prime rib. Now we'll hit this with a little pepper. Flip him over and get a little seasoning on this side. We've already preheated a large skillet, and I like to use a little canola oil inside. Remember, that's got a much higher burn point and it's better for searing off the roast. Now what we're going to want to do is get this in and let it cook about 2 to 3 minutes on each side until you get a nice golden brown sear or a golden brown color. So the sear is all finished, so let's bring this over and get it back onto the cutting board. Notice that beautiful golden brown color and all the caramelization of some of the fat on the top. Remember, you're cooking this fat side up, so it's nice and ready to go into the oven, almost. What we're going to do now is create a rub, and in order to allow this to rest, we're going to make the rub separately. Give this a moment or two to rest so that when you go to put the rub on, it's not so hot you can't touch it. Now, the rub is a really tasty one that I think is going to add a tremendous flavor, and it's important to do this rub as a second step after the searing process. We're using some fresh herbs in this, and you wouldn't want those herbs to burn in the searing pan. All right, what we're going to do is start with a small bowl, and we're going to add to that a couple, 2 or 3 tablespoons of some nice fresh Dijon mustard. This is a perfect blend of flavor to go right along with the beef. Now, in addition to that, we're going to add a heaping tablespoon of minced garlic, also some shallots or some red onion, and then add to that some fresh rosemary, one of the nicest herbs to work with beef. It just really brings out the lovely flavor of the beef, and then add in a little thyme. So once you have all of the flavors mixed together, you want to spoon this right out onto the top of the roast. All right, so get this all evenly spread over just the top of the roast. Remember, this combined with that wonderful fat layer is going to allow all of this flavor to go all the way into the roast, making it delicious. Now, what we're going to do is get this right into the roasting pan. This is going to cook a little lower, about 350 degrees, but still 20 minutes per pound. Perfect. Now, the next tool that you're going to need to make sure that you have a success with your prime rib is an internal meat thermometer. Now, you can pick these up in any grocery store. It's just really important to make sure that you plunge this into the deepest part of the meat, and when you're working with the bone-in version, make sure that that probe does not touch a bone. The bone will actually get hotter than the meat, and you want to make sure that you get a nice accurate reading. Now remember, you're aiming for about 130 to 140 degrees for a medium rare to a medium doneness. Now you should bring these out about 10 degrees early because these will continue cooking as they rest. Just right where we need this to be. The next important point, cover these with some aluminum foil. This is going to allow the meat to rest. Now, during the resting process, it will continue to cook. That's why you brought it out about 10 degrees early, so that it doesn't overcook. It will also allow all the juices to reabsorb, so that way when you slice the meat, it's beautiful, tender, and juicy. So now both of the prime ribs have rested for about 15 minutes and you're ready to start carving. If you've got some folks at your dinner table who really don't like a medium rare slice of prime rib, be sure and slice them an end piece. It'll be a little more well done. Perfect. Juicy and cuts like butter. Now, if you're working with a bone-in version, the best way to cut this one, turn the roast up on its side and hold it by the bones. And then let your bone be the guide for how you're going to guide your knife down to do a beautiful cut. That is just exactly what you're looking for. So there you have it, 2 great ways to prepare your perfect prime rib roast. If you're looking for other great ideas for great meals, search David's Recipes on QVC.com.